Hi, everybody. Mark Bertig with head coach Greg Page of the Homer Center Wildcats as we preview the upcoming 2021 season in our Wildcat preview with Coach Page, sponsored by Bertig Landscaping. Just imagine what Bertig Landscaping can do for you, from landscaping, mowing, fall leaf cleanup to winter maintenance. Bertig Landscaping has you covered. Call 840-8136, 724-840-8136. And by Walbeck Insurance of Homer City, more choices, more savings. Give Rob Walbeck a call or visit them online at walbeckinsurance.com. Well, Coach, last year 6-2, made it to another District 6 championship game, came up short against Bishop Guilfoyle. It was a weird season, obviously, with the pandemic. Hopefully things will be back on track this year, but I think everybody was pleased to get in what we got in a year ago.
I think we should all feel very fortunate from the PIAA's decision back in mid-August. I know the mantra from a lot of people was let them play, and it was a great opportunity. I mean, obviously we were in the midst more so then than hopefully now with the way the pandemic went, and there was a lot of uncertainty, and you needed to keep people safe. You needed to do the right things. But I think as we all saw, the opportunity for all of our kids, not just with football, but for all the sports, to be able to have at least most of a season in the case of football was truly a blessing.
Coach, you're going to begin your 15th season. You'll have to replace about half of your units, 5-6 guys, when you look at the two deep on each side of the ball. With your record-setting quarterback, Ben Schmidt. I'm glad you have your sunglasses on because maybe I'd see a tear or two.
Yeah. Well, we got 4 really good years out of him, as we did some other guys, but he was obviously the last couple years he was the forefront of what we wanted to do offensively. You saw his junior year when he was hobbled, how that affected us the second half of the season. So he was, quite honestly, one of the top impact players we've had here at our school in this program for many, many years.
Well, let's talk about 2021. You do have some key players back. I think one of the keys when you're going to have to break in a new quarterback, you want to be strong up front, and you do have the nucleus of a good-looking line coming back.
Well, we have some people back. I think they have a lot of work to do to prove that they're going to be a very good line. Hardworking kids for sure. We do have a little size. But I wasn't completely satisfied, nor were any of us on the staff, with our overall running game. As far as the consistency of it, we had a lot of good yards out of Ben. Part of that's up front, part of that is him. We started to get guys like Colin Troop going a little bit more the second half of the season, and I'd like to think that the second half of the season that line started to gel a little bit more. But I think they know. We got a couple senior leaders coming back on that line. I think they know that it's onward and upward, and we really need to focus on a more consistent ground game this year.
Drop some names. I know you obviously mentioned Colin. Justin Walbeck will be coming back from a significant injury. But what about the guys up front? Can you talk about a few that you're going to be counting on?
Yeah, you look at senior Sage Bernard will be a 3-year starter. Michael Yunt, 3 years, I believe, has played a lot of football as well. And then we have 2 juniors that started, Isaiah Bentz, who's a big kid, and Vinny Taglietti, who's one of our hardest workers. So those 4 guys. And we got guys like Aiden McKenna that we hope to plug in there, possibly at center. You also have Romilo Stokos has really made some strides this offseason. Isaac Turk is one of our hardest workers. He's a senior backup line. And we have another junior, Joe Succiarelli, not on the big side, but Joe's a hard worker and, tactical guy. So we got guys, we have experience. What I love about that group is they're together. They work hard together. I told them, I said, you guys should be around each other all the time. You should just, go do things, and that promotes that chemistry. And then before you know it, you're making those subtle improvements, and you have the gel needed, because it's, as we'll talk about, I'm sure, it is one whale of a conference this year, and the lines have to be the key for these teams.
Well, we talked about.
I did forget also, tight ends. We got Noah Henry back. Noah was a starter as a sophomore, missed last year. You got to include your tight end guys when you're talking about the front line, because there's times when they pull back in, put their hand in the ground, and Noah's a nice sized kid that we can split out and bring him a tight end, and guys like Jared Orsargas as a senior, and Mason Bell, Caleb Palmer have been working there too to back those guys up, and there's going to be some depth and competition there.
The quarterback battle, I know we're conducting this interview on Media Day at United 3 weeks before the start of the season. You'll be heading into heat camp next week, but talk about the quarterback battle. You'll have a senior and a junior competing.
Yeah. We feel good about that, and we have a promising freshman too. So we have three guys that can be true quarterbacks. Right now, it looks like it's a battle between Cole McInaughty, who's a junior, and Anthony Rowland, who's a senior. And Anthony can go play a wide receiver position as well if we need him to. It would look like it's leaning towards Cole, but they both do good things, and they both have enough poise to be able to run that. And Angelo Alexander is a tall, promising freshman that's a very bright kid that has a good future ahead of him. So we feel good with our options there.
Let's talk defense. Your defense gave up nearly 30 points a game last year in your 8 games. That's not good enough. I don't have to tell you that. I'm sure that's going to be a point of emphasis.
Yeah, before we get to the defense, we got to mention we have a really good junior back as a wideout, Michael Krajosik, who did some nice things. I could talk about the other wideouts as well, but there's some unproven guys. Riley Clevenger played some offense, but we're expecting big things out of Mike. Not a big guy, but has some speed and really worked as a nice complement to Drew on the other side as our receiver last year with Ben and Travis Mock. Defensively, I mean it's an area where I thought we were inconsistent. There were times we got into the playoffs with the first couple home games in the playoffs, and I thought we played our most consistent defense against some good skill guys from Williamsburg and Junior out of Valley. But the tackling at times was not up to par. We were bad tackling and bad defensively against Penns Manor and Purchase Line. The consistency has to be there. We got to the championship game against Guilfoyle, and they were just outstanding. They were just a lot better than us. I'm not afraid to admit that. We didn't play poorly defensively. I thought they were just that good. So it starts with alignment, and it starts with being physical. And we've already got some of our guys talking about how we need to do that. We need to take that next step up defensively. So hopefully that's going to be the case.
Coach, you mentioned the conference. Going to be, I think, a lot of good football teams. What are your expectations?
Our expectations, every year we talk about we want to be competitive every week. I feel like we have a decent program. Week to week, you just don't ever know in a small school conference when, you're battling the numbers issue. We should have 39 kids, which is pretty good compared to some of the other schools, but depth is always a concern. We start off week 1 with what I think will be a heavyweight in our conference with Cambria Heights. I know they're well coached. I know they had a good year last year with a lot of good football players back. So we're going to get the measuring stick right off the bat. But we just went. It's like next week. Next week, I told our guys we need to take the step forward next week after the summer workouts, and then the following week when we can hit. That needs to be another step up. So it's just going to be day to day, week to week for us.
What about your scrimmage?
We'll go to Winber. I think it's the 21st. Is that Saturday? Winber's got a real nice team coming back. They kind of put it to us last year at times in the scrimmage, and we learned from that. It's going to be a good test for us.
Coach, as always, thanks for doing this. All of your games, both audio and video.
We always appreciate what you guys do for our program and our kids.